Hey, Richest Money Maniacs, welcome back. In this video, we're going to talk about the incredible revelation from the Federal Reserve, which is that they are never going to print money, currency, ever again, including coins. Think about that for a second. And what will it mean for you to be able to master your finances? Let's get right to it. Hey, Richest Money Maniacs, welcome back. In this video, I'm very excited to be able to share with you a historic moment. This is like 1971 when Nixon closed the gold window. This is incredible news and almost nobody's talking about it. Well, that's not true. The mainstream media is not talking about it, so most of the world doesn't know. However, the Federal Reserve has announced that it will no longer print any paper currency, and it's not really paper anyway. We all know it was cotton, and even some countries it's plastic. But the idea here is that they will no longer print anything physical to be exchanged, to carry around in your wallet. They already stopped printing coins.
Remember, they stopped printing coins this summer. You've seen that. You've seen people begging for coins. You've seen businesses who say, we're not going to take cash at all anymore, which is what they want. And now there's notice that they're stopping the printing of new currency. This was sent by an individual who said his daughter got this from the credit union. It's interesting that the Fed has now stopped printing new bills and sent me a copy of the credit union notice. Federal Reserve has suspended orders for new bills in 2020.
Now they're not going to print dollar bills. So that means they have unlimited power to print as fast and as much as they ever could want to. Now think about this for a second. In 1913, they took us off the gold standard, right? And then now let me be clear there. 1913, the Federal Reserve kicked in, and it was supposed to maintain gold-backed per dollar. So it did for a while, and then they slowly went to fractional gold. So I want to be very specific. I don't want people to think that I don't understand how it worked. And then they went to fractional backed dollar bills. And then they went to no gold behind the dollar bill at all. And that happened when basically Nixon took us off the gold standard because foreign countries that were using our dollar bills got tired of us abusing the privilege of being the world reserve note for everybody. So basically, that meant that they couldn't come and exchange their gold. They had a lot of dollar bills and they didn't have faith in the dollar in 1971, so they came and they were trying to take the gold. And that scared the US, and so they said, no, we're not exchanging the gold anymore. Our dollar is not on the gold standard anymore. So then it became completely fiat, which means that they were printing dollar bills, but there was no gold behind it. It was only backed by debt or by now the US military. If you don't like the fact that we're taking all of your value from you, we bring our armies in and we say, yes, you have to just deal with it. But that's a whole nother video, so we'll get into that another time. It's just interesting to see the progression to go from a gold-backed currency to a fractional gold-backed currency to no gold-backed currency to now no currency at all. Didn't you see this coming? Come on, folks. They've been printing trillions of dollars every day lately. See, they only report part of what they're printing. They don't have to actually report everything they're printing. That's why no one will ever allow us to audit the Fed. But that's a whole nother video. So let's stick to this. The progression is here that they're trying to convince people to keep faith in the US dollar, even if it's just an electronic 1 or 0 in a computer. How do you do that? Well, you trick them. You convince them psychologically and emotionally that that little 1 or 0 inside of the computer has value. See, that's the wonderful thing about humans. That can only last for just so long, because what's already beginning to happen with them printing trillions and trillions of dollars in terms of stimulus, in terms of international foreign aid, in terms of central bank aid, in terms of just money that went to BlackRock, money that goes to corporations, money that's dumping into the stock market now to the tune of trillions and trillions. I mean, we're at $27 trillion. Think about that for a second. $27 trillion. Okay, there, the second's over. Back to this video. The idea here is that they can't print physical dollars fast enough to be able to keep up with what they need to be able to keep the system from falling apart. Because guess what? It is falling apart, and there's no stopping it. All they're trying to do is delay the inevitable. Why would they do that? Here's why. Because when you create the currency out of thin air and you buy something first, you get the most purchasing power. And then whoever's left to purchase stuff afterwards, when it goes to the bank and then goes out as a loan and then goes out to a dry cleaner and then goes to somebody who supplies dry cleaning chemicals, blah, 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 on the way down, the inflation starts to happen because the market knows that there's no real value behind it, and so it costs more and more and more to get the same thing, to pay to have your dry cleaning done, to get bread, to get milk. Suddenly bread and milk is $1,000 or $5,000 or $10,000 or even $1 million for a loaf of bread. Talk to Venezuela, talk to Japan, talk to Zimbabwe, talk to Iraq, talk to all the countries in the world who have played with this fire, this fiat currency system, Keynesian economics, and talk to them about what hyperinflation looks like, because that's what's coming, and it absolutely will follow. And here's why I can guarantee that: because I guarantee the Federal Reserve will only print more. They're already going to the Congress saying, you're not spending fast enough to be able to stabilize the economy. See, here's the really insidious thing. It doesn't matter whether Democrats win or whether Republicans win or whether libertarians win or whether atheists win. The Federal Reserve, as long as it's in place, will always debase the currency more. But here's the catch. They are to the point now where they can't print fast enough, so they have to convince the public to just accept that cashless is better. Well, how do you do that?
Talked about the push to get us into a cashless society.
You bribe them. Remember the duck story, the farmer and the duck story? And the farmer wanted a duck dinner, and so he gave crumbs to the ducks so they wouldn't fly south. So the ducks stayed through the cold winter looking for crumbs of bread because it was just so yummy. They just need that little fix of sugar, right? The complex carbohydrates. So anytime the farmer wanted a duck dinner, he just went out and grabbed one of the ducks by the neck, wrung its neck, chopped it off, and cooked it, because the ducks weren't flying south. He had duck dinner whenever he wanted it. Well, guess what? We're the ducks. The Federal Reserve is tossing us breadcrumbs, right? They're going to give you a digital account, a digital Federal Reserve account with $1,200 stimulus in it. Ooh, $1,200. Wow, another free money. You know what that'll turn into? Soon it'll be $2,000. Soon it'll be $5,000, $10,000 stimulus. They will bribe you until you finally relent and sign in to get your free money. But remember something, when you do that and you create that Federal Reserve account, you are now subject to all of their rules and laws. They're not laws, but if you don't pay attention and you don't stay in line and you don't say the things they want you to say and you don't buy the things they want you to buy and you keep your money in your account too long, you don't spend it fast enough according to what they say, then they're going to come down on you. For instance, now keep in mind, this has to do a little bit with digital currencies too, so keep that in mind. Go and watch some videos on blockchain and digital currencies and how they work. And one of the things you'll learn is that they are programmable. This is a very important point. So Federal Reserve electronic dollars will be programmable, and you can be sure that they will allow you to either buy gas close to your home or not buy gas 50 miles beyond your home. Or maybe for whatever reason they decide that they don't like you and they don't like your spending habits, so you're not allowed to fly. You can't buy an airline ticket with those Federal Reserve electronic notes. You can't go on a bus. You can't even get an Uber to go across town because you're on a watch list for whatever reason. And just think, it's up to you then to prove that you were innocent. See, this is where this is going. And that's why in this video, I'm only making you aware of what's occurring. It is a historic moment in time. This is the moment when people are finally allowing the Federal Reserve to shackle them into electronic currency slavery. This is the moment that American citizens say, yes, lock me up. Just give me my free breadcrumbs. I just want my free universal base income. Please, I don't want to have to do anything. Just take care of me. I'll be your slave. Then you can tell me what to do as long as I can just get my beer and pizza and cable TV. That's the moment when we gave up our freedom. Now, for someone like yourself who's watching this video, it's a very different story. You're busy trying to educate yourself on how to master finance, how to master and understand the economy, how to position yourself so that you can maintain your value, maintain your freedom, so that when you work hard, you keep that value and you get to use it for yourself and for your family. And if you decide to share it with friends, then you can. You want to keep choice. You want to keep freedom. So the first thing to keep in mind is you need more than one way to buy stuff, right? This isn't just about saving money. This isn't just about living below your means. This is about first building streams of revenue. You need to build companies that bring you money, even if it's just an online store or a blog or something, some business that brings you currency all day long because you're exchanging value with customers. You also need to learn how to barter, because bartering means you can use silver or gold to exchange goods. Because remember, right now they don't consider gold and silver actually currency. It's just a commodity. But you know what? Human beings like gold and silver. So keep that in mind. Not just because it's going up in value because they're printing so much currency, and that inflation is debasing the currency so that gold and silver become more valuable. That's not the only reason. The other reason is because it's really convenient to use it to get things that you need, like groceries, if you can't use Federal Reserve notes. Imagine that. They can tell you you're not allowed to shop at Whole Foods. You're only allowed to shop at the general grocery store where they only sell GMO vegetables and they only sell chemical-laden products. You can't go and buy good food that's healthy for you. We want you to only use these Federal Reserve notes for groceries that are all the things the FDA says is okay. So think about that. You don't have that choice anymore when you sign into this system. So you need to be ready to be able to build a network of businesses and people in your community that you exchange value with through bartering, or maybe through gold and silver, or maybe through some other currency, maybe even a blockchain. Maybe you could find a Bitcoin, not a Bitcoin, but a cryptocurrency that is really completely separate of the banking system, that is really completely free of even the things that trouble Bitcoin or other bigger ones. Maybe some of the newer technologies that come out and really are limited and really are safe and don't go back to the banks. See, this is about finding other options. You're dealing with a system now that's trying to convince you to come in and drink the Kool-Aid. Just come on in. We're going to give you free money. And then once you're in, they have got you forever. Once you're signed in, you can't get out. And they will always be able to tell you, well, hey, you signed up for this program and you took this currency. And so that means these new laws and these new rules and these new regulations, well, they apply to you. And all the privileges that we offer with them. Now see, here's the wonderful thing about a privilege. It can be revoked. Unlike your God-given inalienable rights that the Constitution protects, those can't be taken away. But when you sign up for a government program or a Federal Reserve program, which isn't even a government agency, those privileges can be revoked. You can suddenly find yourself using your Federal Reserve account to put your paycheck in, and guess what? all of a sudden you wake up one morning and half your money's gone. Or maybe all your money's gone. Or your account's just frozen for no particular reason. I mean, look at the trouble people are having with PayPal. That's a really good example, and they're not even near as insidious as the Federal Reserve. PayPal is just a downright pain in the rear to deal with sometimes. They hold on to your money for no particular reason for months on end, and you got to fight to get your money back. All the while, they're using that money to make interest and make money for themselves. Isn't that convenient for PayPal? It's very nice of them to be so safe, isn't it? So think about the Federal Reserve and the idea of them no longer being responsible for printing money and all the different ways you're going to be able to work around that. Now, if you decide to go ahead and sign up and use it, fine. Use it, but don't make that your only source. Don't make that the only way you do transactions. Look for those alternatives. You always need options. Entrepreneurs and businesses and successful people always provide themselves with options. You have to understand that. Now, here's the other reason this is important, because what you'll start to see now is you'll start to see the Federal Reserve start to move inflation higher and higher and higher, and prices are going to go skyrocket. So make sure you position yourself somewhere, like with a laser fund in insurance, indexed universal life insurance policy, or gold or silver, or if you can get some of the real estate that's already pretty cheap, get that too. Because really what's going to start to be the only things that are going to hold value are real things, real commodities. Because currency printing now is officially to infinity and beyond. So I hope this video was helpful. I hope it explains a little bit more how important having several ways of doing transactions and conducting business is important. But also remember, one of the important elements is to build a company or some form of stream of revenue, some stream of value exchange that you have that works even automatically would be really good. I hope that helps. If you haven't already, please subscribe to the channel. And of course, if you found this video to be helpful and had good information in it, please give it a thumbs up. We'd love to hear what you think too. So if you disagree with me, I'd love to hear it. If you agree with me, I'd love to hear it. Please put some comments down below and let's have a conversation. Have a great one, and we'll see you next time.